Today, everyone, we're going to report about the Analects by Confucius. This reading module R7 from Group 7 from Bemino, Recla, and Reno. Next slide, please. So the first book is about book 1. So Chamsi will present this.
The Analects of Confucius is basically a collection of historical anecdotes embodying the basic values of the Confucian tradition, which is learning, morality, ritual decorum, and filial piety. So basically, it is parang collection lang siya ni Confucius at sa kanyang nagatalk lang siya with his disciple. Then each it is divided in 20 chapters, and basically it embodies the basic values of the Confucian tradition. So book 1, many of the key ideas of Confucius' teachings are introduced in the Analects of Confucius book 1. It is by evaluating the role of the individual in society and investigating how they might contribute to it by acquiring the traits of a leader. So throughout sa book 1, Confucius introduces us to the concept of the gentleman. The gentleman is a person who embodies the virtues of righteous thought and behavior, and who through personal growth can gain respect and social standing. The gentleman is a person who has grown to be a cornerstone of the community due to their high moral standards, irrespective of their social standing or familial ties. And to become a gentleman, it is the duty of an individual to devote its life to the cultivation of filial piety, brotherliness, and gentleness. And so basically, a gentleman is one who is able to acknowledge the ancient thought of learning as cultivating the self. So in order for one to be worthy of being called learned of the ancient thought of learning, which is the cultivating of the self, it is someone who recognizes and admires worthiness and therefore changes his lustful nature. It is one who is able to fully exhaust his strength in serving his parents and extend himself to the utmost in serving his Lord. And it is one who is trustworthy in speech when interacting with friends and associates. Next slide, please. So throughout the chapter 1 of the Analects, we are introduced to important points, which is one, needs to be unconcerned about public opinion or fame. The gentleman studies for his own sake, not to impress others. Number 2, today's culture views learning as the pursuit of knowledge, but the ancient considered it as the development of the self. So basically, Confucius is interested to the concept learning, which is the practical application of what you have learned, than the pursuit of knowledge or academic theory. And lastly, it is moral development is evaluated by comparing oneself to others. Yet friendship offers a strong impetus for moral growth and solidarity, bringing solace through self-cultivation. So it is through interacting with others that we can assess our own moral development. However, we can find a person who is able to share, which we are able to openly share our own moral aspiration. That is what we call a friend. And when we are able to openly interact with a friend, it offers a strong impetus for moral development, also providing solidarity, which makes the progress for self-cultivation to be much more satisfying. Next slide. Now we are in book 2 of the Analects. So book 2 is basically an extension of book 1. All the concepts introduced in book 1 are deeply analyzed in the book 2. So book 2 introduces us to the concept of a true leader. A true leader, according to Confucius, should posit that a moral leader resembling the North Star. They will set a strong example for the populace to follow by upholding their primary moral principle. According to Confucius, a true leader is like a person whose character is like the North Star, which guides its travelers. Such a leader sets a powerful example that the populace would naturally follow by remaining steadfast in their primary moral principle. A true leader prioritizes moral character over punishment and coercive regulation, setting an example for others and preventing resentment under forceful or terror-based governance. Another concept which is introduced in book is filial devotion. Filial piety requires not only respect but also affection to elder members, and it highlights the importance of taking on work and offering sustenance to show reverence for elders. Serving one's parents requires deep affection, harmony, and a willing heart. A son should exhibit respect, care, and self-sufficiency, refraining from illicit activities that cause parental concern. So, the only concern na makos sa atong parents kay is only through physical health because it is beyond our control and is notably worth of concern. Next slide. Important points within the book of the Analects is number 1, true character is revealed through observation of one's behavior, motivations, and private experiences, rather than words or public reputation. True virtue is manifested in the details of daily action. So basically, it is what matters internally that an individual is based off, not to his external appearance through words na giyang gina-speak pero not gina-apply in his reputation. Another important point of the chapter is learning is useless if one does not actively seek out the significance of what is being taught reflectively. So if one learns but does not reflectively seek out the meaning of what is being taught, one will be lost and will have gained nothing from it. If one thinks without studying, one will achieve nothing in the end and will have merely exhausted one's intellectual energy for nothing. And lastly, to recognize what you know as what you know and recognize what you do not know as what you don't know is what Confucius basically imparting what is called wisdom. One who puts on the appearance of knowledge and ability is a petty person. Therefore, a gentleman should say he knows something when he says truthfully that he knows it, and he should say that he doesn't know something when he will truthfully admit that he does know it. That is the essence of speech. And when a gentleman is able to do something, he will say truthfully that he is able to do it. When he is not able to do something, he will truthfully admit that he is not able to do it. That will embody the perfection of behavior. So the further chapters of the Analects will be discussed by Venmark Reklam.
Hello, good day. So I am going to talk about the book 4. So this book is the first to focus primarily on virtue and humaness. It provides guidance on personal ethics, moral development, and the qualities of an ideal individual. It indicates the importance of virtue, humility, and respect in shaping a harmonious and just society while emphasizing the value of continuous learning and self-improvement. Also, self-reflection is a vital part of the practice since every mistake can be contemplated to provide a better understanding of humanness. So in this book, uh, virtue and humanness was being talked all throughout the book. Virtue was defined to be the ideal goal for humans, and also Confucius encourages people to strive for it in their thoughts and actions. However, it is acknowledged that achieving perfect humanness is difficult. It also highlights the importance of empathy, compassion, and moral character in human relationships. Next is the way, Tao or Tao. It shares the idea of following an ideal path of thought and action. This highlights the transformative power of the way, suggesting that even a day of genuine effort to follow it can have a profound impact on a person's life. Also, in the latter part of the book, it says that following the way can help you be satisfied with your life, even for a moment. Next is the filial piety. Knowing one's parents' ages, planning destinations for travel to be accessible in case of parental need, and avoiding resentment when parents do not heed advice. It also reflects the deep respect and obedience that Confucius believed children should show toward their parents. The importance of family and filial piety, or the respect for parents and ancestors, is a recurring theme in Book 4. Confucius, Confucius believes that strong family bonds and proper behavior within the family are essential for a harmonious society. Next is the important points in this book. So first is the riches and honors are what men desire. If it cannot be obtained in the proper way, they should not be had. Poverty and meanness are what men dislike. If it cannot be avoided in the proper way, they should not be avoided. So this basically tells that we should uphold the right and proper way and to accept life as it is. This also depicts the devotion of Chunze to virtue. Next important point is the if a man in the morning hear the right way, he may die in the evening without regret. This is the importance of knowing the right way. This tells that a single day of genuinely trying to walk the right path can change a person profoundly to the point of being fulfilled with life. And lastly, the superior man in the world does not set his mind either for anything or against anything. What is right, he will follow. Next is the book 12. So this book was full of questions on how to attain a perfect virtue. Tian Yuan, Chung Kung, and She Hanyu was interested in how to have the perfect virtue. So, what is perfect virtue? It is to subdue oneself and return to proper aid. Is this is perfect virtue. It's also to employ the people as if you were assisting at a great sacrifice, not to do to others as you would not wish done to yourself. Also emphasize that the man of perfect virtue is conscious and slow in speech. Um, Confucius emphasizes the importance of self-improvement and self-cultivation throughout this book. He believes that individuals should strive to become virtuous and morally upright by following the way or the Tao. This involves constant self-reflection and a commitment to lifelong learning. He also emphasizes that the man of a perfect virtue is cautious and slow in his speech. It means being cautious when having difficulties on doing something. Next is the leadership and governance. Confucius stresses the significance of virtue, particularly in leaders. He asserts that leaders must exemplify moral integrity and lead by virtuous example. Virtuous leaders can set a positive tone for society and inspire others to follow the path of righteousness. Confucius also believes that leaders should rule with benevolence and uphold justice. Confucius said that the requisites of governments are that there must be sufficiency of food, sufficiency of military equipment, and the confidence of the people in their ruler. He wants to emphasize that if the people have no faith in their rulers, there is no standing for the state. He also encouraged leaders to prioritize the welfare of the people they govern and to seek the common good. Next is the important points of the book 12. First is that true humanness will create success, but reputation is only the heir of humanness. Confucius said that the person who pursues reputation will achieve it. How likely? In a bad way. To achieve humanness, one must put their responsibility before themselves and attacking their own bad qualities instead of others. This is the way to improve himself and be a righteous man, and also to achieve the humanness you desire. Next is the humanness is to love others. It is the most simplest and most profound definition in the book. Lastly is that Confucius emphasized the need for harmony and balance in society. He believes that when individuals and communities follow the way and uphold virtue, they can achieve harmony and social stability. That's all for Book 12, and Book 14 will be discussed by King Bermino.
So as for the book 14 is one of the longest books of the Analects. Next slide, please. In this book, the students of the master or the students of Confucius often judge humaneness of a person or lack thereof by their behavior. Confucius does not define humaneness as such, but rather he defines it as an internal qualities of a person, like how considerate they are rather than their outward or external behavior. Next slide, please. Confucius suggests that humaneness and morality are not just about doing good things, but also one must have good intentions as well. Appearing to be good rather than intending to be good is inhumane. He also emphasizes that ideas of humaneness of the perfect and of the perfect virtue are utmost difficult to truly achieve. However, doing such a feat does not necessarily make you humane. Next slide, please. The other points of Confucius noted are to truly love someone, one must encourage them to improve. This indicates that you truly care for them and are encouraging them to make the best of themselves. A person exercising restraint and is aware of what the collective needs maintain healthy relationships with the community. For example, having patience for others allows you to maintain healthy relationships. If one cannot bear criticism, one lacks character. He also says here that if you cannot tolerate hostile words, you lack character. Next slide. In a government, a public servant must focus on their job and not of others. They should not be motivated by salary and must not be afraid to stand up against a ruler, meaning you must not be able to stand up against immoral or unethical choices made by your boss or any other higher authority, regardless of any disadvantages. By improving oneself, you also improve the people around you. Following the golden rule, do not do to others what you do not want them to do unto you. The same goes for the opposite. And lastly, the our moral perfection should still be followed even if it's not advantageous to oneself. In this case, morality must be the utmost priority and it should be followed despite the consequences. And that is the end of the slides. Thank you for listening.